Hello, everyone. I'm Wan Siu Ping from Singapore Industry Automation Association. I'm very happy to have with me three friends here who will help me explain more about my queries on how OEM can support the automation industry better. I have here Kenneth from Host, Dorcas from Nordic, and Kelvin from Rockwell. So maybe my first query, okay, is how does all the automation requirements being difficult to the OEM and for the OEM to keep up their design standards to meet the business, keep the business going?
Fortunately for us in marine industry, technology doesn't change so frequently. So it's like, example, you look at the mechanical part like valves, the valves has been here for many years,
Okay, then what about from Kelvin?
Yes, so in terms, what we experience is customer is now getting more knowledgeable in terms of technology advancement. So we do see upskills of technology in user base. So in this result in ever-changing requirements of technology. So for Rockwell Automation, we provide extensive offerings of advanced technology to actually help OEMs better meeting the change of the need of the technology at the end client side.
Okay, what about Kenneth?
I agree with Kelvin regarding the demands for the OEMs on the technologies. The revolution of Industrial 4.0, the demand of scalable type flexible solutions is actually required in most of the OEM because of the high mix, low volume kind of requirement. So take for example, today when you go to a fast food chain itself, depend on the appetite, you can order a meal with upsized fries, upsized drinks. This is what Host as a solution provider, we are trying to provide customers different type of platforms which is scalable that allow customer to meet different demands in control, safety, motion, batching, and cybersecurity. So what most of the customers require is that in the past itself that you will see that different requirement control, like a safety control, they will have a safety controller. Then you have a batch controller. So what we are trying to help our customer is to streamline that to become a scalable one solution to fit all their requirement need.
Yeah. Okay, so from what I hear, I guess all this new technology in controls and the flexible modularity of all these controls will also very soon bring good news to the marine industry, right?
Yes, I think I think the marine industry is also see moving forward is also seeing high demands of all these technologies.
Correct. It's just like last time in marine, you don't have internet access, or it's very expensive to have a internet access. So that resulted that young people doesn't wanted to come into this industry. So it forces the stakeholders to look at ways of how they can able to access to the internet, and that we are seeing slow changes, but it seems to be quite slow. Okay. Yeah.
So I think I look forward to an evolved, transformed marine industry in the next few years with all our friends here, right? Okay, so I think I have another interested question to ask is that since a valve is a valve, but I'm sure the valve is also evolving, right, Dorcas?
Yes.
Yeah. So what are the changes or the challenges that you have when you improve the design of your products, example valve or other components in this marine industry?
Okay, so to make it as a layman, a valve is just like a tap. All right. So you can use to open the valves using manually. You can actually open the valves through actuators. Okay. So just take for instance, I brought some of my babies here. So this is an actuators. But as a SME, we need to evolve, we need to improve, we need to come up with new products. Just looking at that, this actuator is our 4th generation actuators, right? So we need to come up with, looking at using controls to come in to operate a manual valve, right? So this is one of the products that we came up with. And then as time goes on, we came up a way that you can able to maximize the torque of our actuators. And this is so we came out a new product called a torque booster. So basically this torque booster, this is the actuators, which is symbolize this. It multiply the torque 6 times. So in other words, you just need a very small actuators, okay, and you can drive a manual valve. Yeah.
Wow. So during this product development phase, I'm sure you face challenges, right? So maybe you can share with us, along the way, how you have overcome some of the challenges that you had faced.
Many challenges all these years. Whether we came out the first products like this, we need to be always to be competitive. You need to produce your products at the cheapest solutions. All right. So one of the things itself is that there's so much you can reduce on the cost. So what we did is that we look into various technologies to improve on the actuators output, right? So for instance, for this case was 6 times of the torque, right? So the problem that we face itself is that for many SME is where to come up the money. You can have a very good solution, but you still need a funding to come up to come up these products. We know very clearly that to have a R&D department is very costly. So fortunately for us is that we got a very good granting system from ESG.
Singapore ESG.
Yeah, Singapore ESG. And then with that, we can actually tap on the scientists like A-Star to be part of our team in coming out these products, right? But other than cost, we face another problem is, you look into this thing, it may be a very simple gearing system, right? But we were doing the product phase, we realized that we can't find a gear company in Singapore.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So
very specialized.
Yeah, correct. So ended up we have to invest on our own machine to make this specific gear profiling. Second thing that we faced was certifications. How do you know that? How does people able to accept your products? I mean, I say that it's 6 times, but how to prove it? So we face a challenge like, okay, where to find a testing lab? Because this is a new products, first in the world. We have patented these products. So testing lab to find is another that is able to have that kind of testing facilities is also a challenge for us. Third itself is that after you have tested the products, right? The next thing that you need to do is that you need to certify this product. And it's very costly. I mean, for us in marine, you need to, you have various class like ABS, like DNV, like NK. So to incur all this cost itself is very costly. So we just like looking at, hoping that we can able to find a mutual recognition. So you just need to pay one class and apply to all.
Okay. I'm sure all the authorities are working hard to get that through. Okay. Then I have another query is that since we are looking towards so much more in technology, in controls and stuff like that. So I think in automation, we have this thing about, also again is standards, but this time it's about connectivity standards. So would like to ask the panel here, what do you think, how important is connectivity standards and how it will be affecting or is already affecting the product to automation market?
Okay. So as I started, I was saying that marine is very slow in technology, but we are seeing a lot of changes. We are seeing, especially on remote access. The ship may be in the middle of the sea. Both the ship owner or the manufacturers will like to know what happened on their systems in the middle of the sea, right? So we came across there was this request from the customer. They were saying that we would like the ship owner is saying that we would like to know what actually happened on your system, on their systems, on their ships. So it was something that a playback solution. So what we need to do is that we just have to call up our partner, strategic business partners like Host and Adlam Bradley, to see that how we can tap on their expertise and to advise us and to come up with a solution for our customer.
To me, is one part that need to be worked on, so that the marine industry will totally transform in the long run to be, I would say on par, but at least catch up with what is happening on land.
Yeah, so it's good because that they are much they are much advanced in technology than marine. So instead of reinvent the wheel, we can just actually leverage on the two experts now, right?
Okay. So I do agree is that we see a lot of demands in adopting the industrial standard connectivities in all segments. I think as doctors has mentioned, marine is actually picking up. I think very soon itself, it will be very much in advance based on the land-based projects itself. So we have a lot of requirement from the OEMs to look into deploying of standard connectivities via Ethernet IP or Modbus, or even to the proprietary networks itself. So all these connectivities, what do the OEM benefit? They improve their asset management, just like what doctors have actually mentioned. Vessels would like to monitor what's going through the vessels along the journey. For OEMs in the machine builders, they want to understand how their asset is performing and how can they further improve their system. So one other aspect is remote access. As most of the OEMs actually ship out their machine overseas, they will have a requirement to remotely access their machine in terms of monitoring of the assets or to do troubleshootings. In the past itself, when an OEM have a 40 machine, probably in overseas, in Malaysia or in any of the country itself, they need to fly an engineer or have an engineer station back at a country of machine is actually placed. But now with remote access, with the ease of troubleshootings through communicating through the machine, basically sitting at our house nowadays. So that's a lot of benefit to the OEM itself. Also, this help OEM to save costs because of the traveling accommodation is reduced. So another thing to the end user, you have reduced downtime, because instead of waiting for the engineer to be on site, now my engineer can, with a phone call, I can remotely access the machine and do the troubleshooting immediately.
Yep. Okay, I agree with what Kenneth have shared into like the market now looking into like improving asset monitoring, especially in the remote side. So first thing is that we're looking at into for Rockwell itself, we are providing a standard protocol, Internet IP, which is a common industrial protocol managed by ODVA. So this protocol itself actually provides a plant-wide network system using open industrial standard networking technologies. So providing like data informations and also enable real-time controls. So just to share an example, this how using an Ethernet IP network is, connecting a motor starter and also the sensors to a controller and HMI, and then getting the informations into the enterprise level. So this is where we are looking into open standard connectivity that, the market is transforming.
So likewise for us, we actually use the remote access system, to commission during the COVID period, yeah. So we can't able to access to the vessel, but via the remote access, we successfully commissioned 2 vessels, one in Turkey, another one in China.
Yeah, that is really technology in action. And I think I can hear such that now if you are a service engineer, you don't worry about getting permission from the family to travel. You can work from home, you can work from office and solve your customer's problem.
Yeah, the best itself is that at this junction, I would like to encourage more ladies to the marine industry. So you doesn't need to go on board the vessel. You can still support the service crew, in the office.
Yes, that's why technology make a lot of difference, right? Yeah, yeah. Okay, I think we have heard a lot from all of you, and I think I learned a lot. And thank you very much for these interesting inputs into the automation support. Thank you.